right off the bat, I want to know, what is history to you? How do you define history?
History is the entirety of human experience. I take a very broad and expansive view of what history is, because in a sense, everything is history, because everything, even science and technology, are standing at the tail end of historical development. And of course, it gives us guidance for going forwards. There's a fallacy. There's the end of history fallacy, that we're going to change less in the future than we have changed in the past. We kind of like to think about stability, right? That things are going to be stable. But if history teaches us anything, it's that everything is unstable. Everything stands at the end of historical development. So really, if we talk about what history is a subtotal of human experience, including reasons why, philosophy, everything.
So history is everything?
History is everything. Nothing human should be strange to the historian.
Right.
And really all fields, statistics, mathematics, psychology, had been applied to history in one way or another. So if you think about it, everything that we do is history, because everything is based off of past experience. Ask my undergraduates, when I was teaching, I was asked my undergraduates, who's a historian here? And none of them would raise their hands. I said, well, who's ever been pulled over by the police? And some of them would raise their hands. I said, were you more careful driving past the place where you got pulled over? And they say, yes, we were. I said, so are you being a historian? And they said, well, I guess so. And I said, well, every time I open the cabinet where the cat food's kept, the cats come running and they think it's time to be fed. Are my cats historians? And they're like, well, no. I said, so what is history? Well, history is something that is impersonal. It's the broadest possible interpretation, the broadest possible scope of what's going on. So if we're talking about being human experience, it's when we take the experience of the past, but we depersonalize it, and we usually using, primary documents and things like that, though not necessarily really, because we really do need to expand what is history and what are primary sources and what is the goal of history beyond merely the written record to write the broadest possible histories. But when we talk about what it is the broadest possible human experience, into which we can bring even fields like mathematical fields like statistics. We can bring in social science fields, sociology, and I think that history is greatly strengthened when we do bring in things like sociology, psychology, and other fields. So it's not just the study of the past, but it's also, in many senses, the study of ourselves, because we're always thinking with history. History is, in many ways, and this kind of gets into your historiography question, history is only valuable so much as these pasts are useful to us and things that we can think with. The biggest example of that being the current controversy over Civil War monuments, Confederate monuments in the American South. You go to Lexington, Virginia, for instance, and there's positively shrines to Robert E. Lee, not to mention an entire university, at least in part, named after him, right? And these were, in turn, a way of using the past and thinking about and with the past at the turn of the 20th century, when Confederate veterans were starting to die off and people started thinking about the past in a way that memorialized the Civil War. And today, of course, we're questioning this. If we look at the law, right? We look at why do so many undergraduate history majors wind up going to law school? Well, the law is essentially the study of history, precedences, but also what was the meaning of this when the law in question was written, right? What was intended. That in a sense, you really can't do law without doing history. So history has very broad applications to all fields of human endeavor. And if we look at science and technology, really any science, any technology that we have stands at the end of a historical development, and it came about for reasons. So really, if we look at the history of science and technology, then really it has the really, really broad, encompassing views.
I think it's in one of your books the book on time, you mentioned something along the lines of timekeeping being the basis of science. It's fundamentally necessary.
Yeah, timekeeping is the basis of science, that the independent variable is time, is change over time. In a sense.
So in a single sentence, how would you define history?
Oh, geez.
We got to crush it down to one sentence.
We have to crush it down to one sentence. Knowing ourselves.
History is knowing ourselves. Before I go, I owe the Ctruth patrons a huge thanks for their continued support in my endeavor to explore and map the world of chronology. So thank you all. Before you go, like the video, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and check out some of these other videos.